So welcome to another round of comments that aren't exactly the best ones ever. Start off with one that's not so bad, but still kind of face palming inducing and whatnot. This guy says it's not named Peekaboo 211. It's called Meryl. This is actually when I had called Meryl Peekaboo, I think in episode 1 of the Pokemon Gold LP, and it was basically just a joke because I remember when I was a lot younger. I think I remembered reading stuff that said that this new Pokemon from the next generation would be called Peekaboo and blah blah blah. So I figured I would reference that. If no one else got it, at least I would remember it from my childhood. But every so often you're gonna get people who will try to point out and correct everything you say, even though it's a joke or you're just being, sarcastic about something. They'll try and point it out. They'll try and correct you, even though you're joking. And a lot of times, just my sense of humor will go over these people's heads. So I don't really understand why some people watch me when they don't understand what the fuck I'm saying. The next comment comes from someone who doesn't quite understand the view system. This is saying, it's funny how your Pokemon has 35,398 views and ACB has 323 views. When you're going to compare projects and say, oh, you should do this one because it gets more views, first of all, it's not going to work anyway. I did Kingdom Hearts, and that was like the lowest viewed thing I've done in quite some time. But I still did it because I love the game. I don't care, what gets the most views. If I want to do something, I'm going to do it. When you're going to compare projects, you kind of have to compare correctly. And I'm going to try and open up my my web browser and stuff so I can go ahead and look at this. This person was comparing, I think, the first episode of Pokemon Gold, which had been up for quite some time by that time, and it had 35,000 views at that time. And he was comparing it to an Assassin's Creed video that had pretty much just recently gone up. It wasn't even episode 1. For YouTube, once a video has been up for a little while, usually around view 301 to like 375, it'll stop counting views on a live basis, which means it's going to get stuck at 300 something for quite some time. So basically, this person was comparing episode 1 of Pokemon Gold, which at the time had like 36,000 views, 35,000 views, and a new video of ACB that had 323 views. I would believe implying that I should play Pokemon more because of, it had more views. Even if I'm wrong on that. Basically, right now, Pokemon Gold Episode 1 has like 88,000 views, and Assassin's Creed Brotherhood Episode 1 has 152,000 views, which is about almost twice as many. So please don't compare projects and be like, oh, this one has more views, you should do that. You're just using that as an excuse because you want to see something else. This person might have wanted to see more Pokemon instead of Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, or they were just pointing out that Pokemon for whatever reason had more views than ACB. But if you're going to compare two videos from two different projects, you at least got to go back a couple videos and not compare one that had been just recently uploaded. This next comment comes from a very nice individual. It says, 4,000 videos? What the fuck? Forever Alone, dude. If you don't know what Forever Alone is, just Google Forever Alone meme, M-E-M-E, and you'll pretty much figure out what it means. It's basically like a thing. It spawned off of the, the fuck guy, the guy who always gets mad and rages when something happens to him that's, kind of bad, something like you would rage at on an everyday basis. But I believe it spawned off of that. Forever Alone is just someone who, is going to be forever alone. It basically explains itself, but it's actually kind of funny. My problem with this is that just because someone has a lot of videos doesn't mean, they invest a ton of time into this. Like I've always said, the longest thing that it takes me to do in this whole thing is to actually record the video. By the time everything's said and done, if I upload an hour of videos, chances are I only spent an hour and 15 minutes, playing it, editing it out, and uploading it, and making all the tags. Because when something's rendering out, I don't have to be in my computer. When something's uploading, I don't have to be in my computer. I can have all that stuff set up on an automated process, which I've learned to do on my own and from other people. Set it up to upload, render out, and just leave, and then come back later, and it's all set up. Just because someone has that many videos doesn't mean a lot. It means, I do spend a lot of time on it, but not as much as some people would think. I'm just a very dedicated person when it comes to that. And the funny thing is, when I went to this person's page, they basically do the same thing as me, similarly. They do video game stuff and they upload videos. What I want to know, this is like a professional basketball player being told by someone in high school, dude, you're like way too good at basketball, you must have no life. It's, why would you go ahead and insult someone who's basically in your same quote-unquote field? It's just rather stupid to do. Thought this was a pretty outstanding PM that I got. It says, Black Ops, you cheated. You can't have 2 assault rifles at the same time. Have you ever heard of picking up a weapon that someone had dropped because they died? Apparently not. And even if I was going to cheat in the game, I would pick a better cheat than having 2 assault rifles at the same time. Saw some comment comes from someone who says, yeah, real fucking cute how you dropped unfortunately in there after explaining where the name comes from. Fucking hippie. That bomb ended the bloodiest war in human history. There would have been millions more casualties if we didn't end the conflict right then and there. If you have no idea where this comes from or what he's talking about, it was basically in the Fallout 3, was it Nuclear Anomaly or something like that? That one perk that you get at level 30, one of them you can get. I didn't like the perk, and I'll go explain that a little bit later, but this video comes from there. I was explaining the Fat Man and where the name comes from for some reason, and apparently this guy thinks I'm a fucking hippie because I thought it was unfortunate that, a ton of people had to die to those bombs so the war would end. Let me tell you something. You're not a fucking hippie if you think that, killing a whole ton of people to end something was unfortunate. That's called being a moral person. It's called, caring about other people even though, they're not like you don't know them. You can still think it's bad. Just because it ended the war doesn't mean, oh yeah, fuck all those people, they deserved it. That may or may not be the case, and if you can't understand that, then you're a little bit more of an asshole than you think. This video in particular, Nuclear Anomaly, I believe it was called. If you're a troll, and I know I have some trolls who do follow me, who don't troll me, but they love a good trolling, you can go to this video, Nuclear Anomaly. If you click my uploads and sort it by most viewed, you can find it pretty easily from there. It's like the 4th or 5th most viewed video. If you just want to troll the shit out of people that leave stupid fucking comments on that page, then yeah, go right ahead. This guy, real winner here. And another comment from one of those videos, this comment isn't from Jason, but Jason actually pointed out that people were still leaving stupid comments on this video, even though it's almost like, I think he said it's 14 or 16 months old. So thank you, Jason, for supplying me comments to this video. This person says, it's easier to lose health on harder difficulties. Damage resistance is your friend. You had to grind to level 30. Quests are your friend. Stop being horrible and learn to play before you post some ignorant review. So let's respond to these. Number 1. You can play on a harder difficulty, but unfortunately for Nuclear Anomaly to actually work, you have to fall in between the health range of like 1 and 20. And a lot of times, if you're playing on hard, you're probably just going to bypass that range. I can't remember what the actual range is. It's between 1 and 50 or 1 and 20, 1 and 30, something like that. If you hit 0 health, you just die. The perk doesn't work if you hit 0 health, unless they patched it. I haven't played the game in forever. So, in my opinion, it was a useless perk if you were going to play on a harder difficulty. I tried playing it. I tried playing it on, very hard, and it didn't work. It really only worked on very easy, and sometimes normal. Basically, I didn't think it was the best of perk. Number 2, you had to grind a level 30 quest to your friend. Unfortunately, due to the nature of the DLC, I was already max level by the time the DLC came out. So I was doing a lot of quests and not really gaining any experience because I was already level 20 or whatever the max level was before it came out. If I had started the game from the beginning and played all the way through, then yeah, all the quests probably would have helped me get to level 30 and I wouldn't have really had to have grinded. But when Broken Steel came out, I was already the max level and I had already done all of the DLCs and I had already done all of the main quests, which means that all of the experience that I was getting once I hit level 20 from the quests that I was still doing wasn't giving me really any experience. I was stuck at that level. And I, had to grind up to get to level 30. So unfortunately, this is someone jumping to conclusions thinking they're a real fucking smartass when in reality they're not. Number 3, stop being horrible and learn how to play before you post some ignorant review. It's not really an ignorant review, it's an opinion. I didn't like the perk because it didn't work to any really good, way that I wanted it to. I played on harder difficulties at the time because I thought it was a little bit more challenging, even though it got really annoying at some points, like in Point Lookout, because the enemies were so fucking defensive based. But basically, it's an opinion. You can't call it an ignorant review when it's an opinion. In my opinion, the perk sucked. Oh, that's an ignorant review. No, it's not. I didn't like the perk because of the way I played. I played on a higher difficulty. Depending on my character, I wasn't the only one who probably thought it sucked. That video has brought up so much damn debate about, oh, it's the best perk ever, you can never die. No, you can die. I showed it. I made multiple videos and showed that you can die while using the perk. Unfortunately, people are so goddamn fast to think, oh, I'm right and you're wrong, that they won't figure out what the hell they're talking about. And in this case, yeah, it's someone who thinks they're a lot smarter than what they actually are.